Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. Stop waving at me. It's really putting me on. When I was at school, I used to be a school librarian, looking after the sections in the library like junior fiction, geography, things like that. And we had a joke that said, what do you get if you rub two first years together? And the punchline would be junior friction. So today we're going to find out what happens when you rub two card collecting podcast together. And who knows what's going to happen over the next hour and change. Welcome. I can't believe, and usually when I drop a joke like that in the intro, people just stare at me and blink, which isn't great content, to be fair. But so welcome to the podcast, the hosts of the Penciled In podcast, Ingrid Hardy and Lindsey Greyling. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us. How exciting to be interviewed.
Oh, excuse me. Immediately.
Doing that.
Ian dies at the beginning. Oh, pardon me. So, now, I've been on one of your episodes, but over a year ago now, and you were kind of just starting out. So, for those who haven't heard it, and for those who don't know about it, what is the Penciled In podcast? Who's going to take that? You're looking at each other.
Okay, well, because I tend to be like this, so I try to contain myself.
Well, you know what? For the audio version, you kind of need to, dead air and all that sort of stuff. For video, people can see what's going on.
Well, the Penciled In podcast had been a long time. I'd been kind of getting bored with my job, the way I was doing it, and because I don't get to go to cons like very often at all, hardly ever, I was like, I'd really like to meet some of the people who are doing the same job as me and all of this and yada, yada. But then I was also like, well, Willikers, I don't know how to do a podcast, even though I listened to like a million of them. And it was suggested to me that, well, maybe if you're two to do it, it might be a little easier, And I was like, yeah, but who? I don't get along with anybody. So Lindsey's name was suggested to me. So I was like, oh, okay, we'll go say hello. And then she's just so easy to get along with and puts up with all of my maniacal lists and everything. So it was a way for us to kind of meet the people that we work on the same sets with, find out what makes them tick, learn more. We each get to learn a little bit more about the industry, and to share a little bit of the knowledge that we've gained along the way. I've been doing sketch cards since 2006, I think, something like that. Yeah. So it's been a while. I love art. It's like I simply cannot do anything else, so I may as well try to share a little bit whatever minimalist stuff I've gained along the way while we're interviewing people, and everybody is super interesting. And Lindsey, again, is just the best. She's way more prepared than I ever am on, and it's just easy to talk to. So that's pretty much the overview. We talk to artists, publishers, anybody who's really creative and has held a card in their hand for at least 3 seconds.
Right. And saying Ingrid's the organized one. Ingrid gets it all organized, and I kind of jump on and just be nosy. I've got a lot of questions. I've always got a lot of questions to ask.
And good ones. You always have good questions.
It makes it run quite smoothly. I know what I don't know and what I'd like to know, if you know what I mean. So,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So you, when did you start? Was it about 18 months ago now?
It will be 2 years in February.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's getting on.
So we have a lot of episodes. And again, you were on our episode, and it just goes to show you how well prepared I am. I don't have the number of the episode, but I will get it, and you can put it in your show notes. I'll get the episode because you were 2 at the time. And the two of you were on our podcast, and I think we were on yours, or I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, you have,
Oh,
and I'm
that's
just
right.
scrolling down my list of episodes because you came on. Oh, good grief. You were on episode 39 back on the 1st of April 2020, talking about your first Art of Sketch cards
Yeah, that's what.
volume,
Wow.
which you've done. So for those who don't know about the Art of Sketch cards, go back and listen to episode 39, and then can people still buy it digitally or physically?
They can. I have no more. The volume 1 is completely, totally sold out, apart from two volumes, a soft cover and a hardcover, which I've made. I have one collection of soft covers, 1, 2, and 3, and one collection of hardcovers, 1, 2, and 3. And those I'll be putting in like some kind of a special venue or something later on when I get the time for it. But otherwise, volume 1 is completely sold out. Volume 2 and 3, I do have extras, but I put everything on hiatus because the shipping issue, especially after COVID hit, the price of shipping just went through the roof, and it cost more to ship the book than it did to actually print the thing. So it's like, no, that's enough. I was actually going to toss them because I thought I'll never be able to do anything with them. But now here in Canada, I found a way to ship things out it's a little bit more affordable. So I'll be offering them again.
Oh, that's good, because I still need a volume 3. I've got volumes 1 and 2.
Okay, well, it'll be an option. It will definitely be an option.
Good.
And this time there'll be options to add things with the books if they want, because things have changed since.
Exciting, yes. So I'm just scrolling through. Now, I think you've only just been on that once. I'm just scrolling through here. Yes, no, just once. And Lindsey, this will be your first time, so you'll always remember this moment. Apparently. So Lindsey, where have you because I hadn't heard of you before Penciled In Podcast started, and yet you're in the same fair country as me, albeit further up country. So where have you come from? What's your background? Because people have heard Ingrid's story before. They can go back and listen to episode 39, but I've got no idea your origin story.
I was born in Halifax, moved to Doncaster when I was about 4. And I've always drawn. I've always been into art. Like, I've never stopped drawing, no matter what I've been doing. But I went to college in my teens. I got a HND, and then I just started working a regular supermarket job. But I was never happy. I was like really, kind of fed up with it. Like, the people were nice, but if you want to do art, that's all you want to do. So I don't remember, I was sat there one day and I had a grumpy face on, like doing me, scanning the products. And this customer says to me, he goes, "You don't look very happy." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm fed up, I want to go home." And he goes, "Don't you like your job?" And I was like, "Oh, not really." He goes, "You don't have to work here, And it was like a little light bulb went on. I was like, I don't, do I? I don't have to. So I went back to college and got my degree, and that, made me good with deadlines and things like that. Then I started doing portraits, and then I got into sketch cards. So it's just all kind of gone on from there, really, from getting into this company and that company, and now I've got to the stage where I'm doing my own sets, which is kind of where I wanted to go anyway.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Because I've seen some of your stuff in the Perna sets, the Perna Studios sets, and for some of the sets, your cards are almost the only images I can show my daughter, because some of them are quite intense in terms of the imagery, and the themes, like the Halloween ones. Some of the cards in that set, no disrespect to the art, but some of the cards in that set are very much adult only. They're very horrific. But your stuff has got such a nice style to it. How would you describe it?
When I was
my foot in my mouth.
Well, when I was little, I used to draw a lot of Disney. I used to pose like gummy bears and copy it off at telly. But we had like a Betamax, so it was always doing this, and you had to pose it just right to get a still image. So I'd say it's pretty Disney inspired, because that's what I grew up drawing a lot of. And then I can't remember where I got them, but I had some random Marvel cards, like 80s Marvel cards. I think I had Storm, Archbishop, maybe.
Archangel or Bishop, one of the two.
Yeah. I can't remember which one that way. It was so long ago.
That's a good.
But Archbishop. I remember seeing the artwork though, and I'm like, wow, I love that. And that was kind of what I wanted to do, but I practiced that over my teens, and it's just not me. When I was at college, I remember my tutor saying to me, just do what comes natural and easy to you. So I was like, all right then, let's go for it. I'll, just do what comes out. And that's like what I do for Perna. That's what just comes out when I'm just sat doodling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, since I have been myself rather than trying to be somebody else, like it's gone quite well.
Yeah.
So
just lean into it, I guess, because then you'll find your audience, and it's authentic as well. It's authentically you.
Yeah, definitely, it definitely is. I have got a process for what I do now. Like I've dubbed these out just so I can show you what I do. So I start off with rough sketch.
Oh, that's cute. I love it.
And then I scan it and print it the size that I want it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I can trace it down, and it's all nice and clean then.
Oh, wow.
So there's no, pencil marks, anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you've got the time to do that on cards. You haven't always got the time to do that prep work, but when you do, it's really worth it. It looks a lot better. So yeah, that's what I try and do.
Well, you've not made it onto Marvel yet, though, have you? We had a little chat about this just before we started recording.
Well, I was considering it, and I think they do. I don't know if they'd quite be into my style because it's very cute and a bit Chibli-like. But when I've looked at their list of restrictions, it's really scary and daunting for an artist to look at that and not know what they can and can't draw.
Yeah.
I mean, they do tell you what you can't draw, but if I were going to give them any advice at all, I'd say, please list what you can draw rather than what you can't, because you're putting a hell of a lot on the artist to have to research what they can actually do. And that's taking time out of them being able to sit and draw it. So,
Yeah. There is a UK artist, Paul Hill, who does a very not too dissimilar style to yours. He does kind of small characters, very chibi-like caricatures almost, and he's been on a lot of the sets, not just because I immediately thought when you were describing it that the Marvel anime sets that they've been putting out could be a natural kind of place for you to have a go, because the style of that, I mean, they've just released volume 2, so I can't imagine there wouldn't be a volume 3 coming out, but the artists on that, they're having fun with it, because they can either try the chibi style, or they can try the Japanese 80s cartoon style, the manga style, all that sort of stuff. And it is a lot of fun as a set. I did open some actually. I don't have any here. I have the wrappers. You can kind of get the vibe of it.
Oh wow! I do love trying. Like I've always loved trying different styles. I mean, the reason I didn't go full on with my artwork right from the beginning was because I didn't want to get typecast in a certain style, because I love to do all sorts. So what I've ended up doing is I'll do different styles for each set I'm on. Like I'll choose, right, I'm going to go this way. They might have big heads on this one, or, the next one they might not have, or different eyes, or different, it just keeps it interesting for you. But I'm quite lucky because people can still tell that they're mine, even though I do slightly change everything.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a style, you've got a kind of, it's your brand, I guess, isn't it? When you think about it. So.
It's nice that I can move within that, and not, because I didn't want to do the same thing over and over again for the rest of my life. Like, it's not me. I wouldn't enjoy that. So, yeah.
It really is different. I'm sorry to jump in here. There's just such a good point with, when this is what you do day in, day out, it's your day job, creating art and stuff like that. You have to find ways, like Lindsey does, to make it all interesting. And once you start getting bored, it's definitely the alarm to say, well, maybe it's time to change things up a little bit. And because if you don't, it shows right away in all of your artwork. It's just incredible. And Lindsey has been doing some amazing stuff since she decided to take the time to work on her own thing. So it's interesting to talk with other people and find out how they're finding their own particular way, and I don't know. Anyway,
well, it's like we were talking about doing sequel series for for the stuff we're producing at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's like I did a bee set recently, and it's just full of bee puns. Yeah, weird bee.
Lindsey has the best sense of humor. It's really good.
And Edit suggested to me, well, why don't you do a series 2? And I'm like, because I'm sick of drawing bees. I don't want to draw any more bees. That's done. And I understand, like, that, if somebody's got series 1, they'll probably come back and buy series 2. But I'm like, I need something different now. I need to, I have set up.
Years you might want to do bees again in 2 years. You might be like, oh, I missed them.
I might come back around to it. Yeah. I mean, there is one recurring set I'm going to be doing as a series, Die Rabbit Die. Hopefully that's going to be every year, because I keep adding different funny characters to it. Like, one of the characters I'm going to do next time, it's going to be the jilted bride, and she's kind of like got mascara and bit of a crazy look on her face. Like, they're just so fun to create, these little characters. So I'll keep that going as a series.
Is it actually a rabbit you're describing here? So it's a rabbit bride.
Yeah.
Okay. The rabbit bride.
I might have her in here, actually. So, people really like the fact that there were different characters, and they've all got their own personalities and little bits of backstories. And on the back of the cards, it's got poems, and I did put a hell of a lot of work into it. So I'm dreading series 2. So it's going to take me ages.
You know what you're doing now, so there's that less you have to figure out.
Oh, I can't find her. I thought I was so organised and had everything in all my folders, but I'm not.
She's the runaway rabbit bride. Clearly, she's left it out the back of the church. You'll have Dustin Hoffman turn up in a minute.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Because Lindsey, you've been on some sets where I can your style is very classical almost. Some of the stuff.
Oh, really?
Very very. I'd almost peg it on the spectrum towards the fine art spectrum, in terms of some of the stuff that you've done, especially when I see you do wildlife, because I often think of, when I see your stuff, I often think of some of the stuff that Julie Bell is doing in a much larger format. Because it's kind of got that feel to it. But yeah, I know that you went to town on Lord of the Rings.
I wasn't on Lord of the Rings. I did a lot of
stuff. I'm talking to Ingrid.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking to Ingrid now.
You're talking to me.
I thought you were talking to Lindsey too.
No. I pivoted. It was a very subtle pivot, which is unusual for a man of my size and composure. But no, I was solely talking about. So I'll let you rewind and try and figure out what I said and how to respond to it.
How Ingrid's, it is classical. It's very painterly, Ingrid.
Yeah.
Got all the light and the colours. Like,
color is a bit of a turn on. I find it's something like, we have a dog, obviously. Maybe we'll be having 2 soon, but anyway. Ooh. So taking that dog for a walk early in the morning, it's such a treat, because you get to see all the colors at the beginning of the day, and all the shapes if there isn't all that much light, and it's interesting to see, and it's nice to take some of that and try to throw it into my work. It just makes it kind of interesting, Yeah. But I'm jealous of the way someone like Lindsey can draw, just because she really can, make the base character. We were going to work on a set together of dogs and cats, or cats and dogs, and it was actually a lot of fun, but it's just things have gotten too busy to really do it. But she was doing the sketches, the foundation sketches, and then I was painting over it. So it was like a combination of 2 very different styles, which was a lot of fun, actually, I gotta say.
It was. I don't know if I can find it, but yeah, I think we're always jealous of what we can't do. Like, I'm jealous of Ingrid because she can. It's impressionistic. I can't do that at all. Everything's have a soft outline.
All the Star Wars. Excuse me. Got a cat in my throat there. All the Star Wars sets that I've done over the years, I've done so many of them, that the only way for me to find an interesting way to keep doing them was to really just play with the color and say, just forget about realism a little bit and just see what happens and just take a chance. And I'm so glad I did. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, but for me, it was just like, oh, yes, this works. Yeah, that doesn't work, but at least, to try something and throw it to the wind and see if anybody likes it. I lost a bunch of collectors actually who used to buy my stuff regularly. And then when I started just, going a little off the wall a bit, so to speak, or on the wall, I kind of lost a few people, but I gained a few others. So, live and learn.
That's the way it's going to be, I guess. Do you, did I misremember that? You have been on Lord of the Rings sets, haven't you?
Yes, I've been on a bunch of them, not the latest ones.
Yeah.
There was a whole changeover at Cryptozoic, and they've changed their rules a little bit too. And I'd have to keep sending applications. They suggest that you send regularly, which is a great thing to do. I just have to sit down and do it. So I haven't done any lately. I'd love to, but I haven't done any lately.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's where I first saw some of your stuff on some of the tops.
Oh, yeah. And one Tops had it. Yeah, Tops had it. A lot of sets. Masterpieces, I think.
It was Scoundrel. It was Scoundrel. That's where I first heard of you, on the Scoundrel forums.
Scoundrel, that's going back a few moons.
Yeah. I need to do a Scoundrel focused episode one of these days. It's kind of
that would be really good, because that was really a little hub of all of the sketch card artists that really went on to do a lot of other stuff, and who already did at that time a lot of other stuff. It was just a little area that was great. Who's the name of the guy who put it together? It was Marley Ed's, his real name.
I honestly can't remember. And I don't think I ever knew
something. I don't remember his last name, but I can easily find it. I've got it somewhere. But his screen name was Marley Ed's.
That's right.
He put work into it. And I ended up being one of the moderators for a while. I think I still am, but I haven't gone over there because everybody's on Facebook or something.
Everyone's left. It's like tribally they've got up and moved over there. I kind of imagine it like a flock of starlings just lifting from one tree and going to another. And now they're kind of leaving Facebook and going off to Discord and YouTube and Instagram. There's kind of there's so many channels now. So you're are you audio or are you just video? Because I know I've seen your videos, but do you do audio as well? Yeah.
When we started out, the plan was to be both audio and video. So for at least 20, 25 episodes or so, I'd edit the audio and edit the video. And it was just like, there has to be like 48 hours in a day for me to do everything and do my job. And I cook and, house stuff, and that's part of life too. So I just couldn't do it anymore. I have or maybe I don't have all the original files. Otherwise, I could upload them as audio, but no. It's all on YouTube. And in any case, I think now YouTube has a thing where you can kind of watch videos as if they were a podcast or listen to them. Listen to videos. Anyways, it's all up there.
I've found the mashup card me and Ingrid did. I drew it, Ingrid painted it. It's my favorite thing ever.
Oh yes, yes. That's my favorite card.
They're my pets. That's my cat and dog.
That's really sweet. I love it.
But it's totally Lindsey's expressions that I made an every effort to keep
skill. So we thought, we'll put those together.
That's cool.
It was fun. It would have been fun to do a whole set of those, and maybe I'd like that. Keep it in the back burner to maybe do it once time frees up a little bit. Things are so great.
Just keep chipping away at them. Just do a few.
Well, we're also chipping away. Lindsey's chipping away at her own one or two new sets. I'm chipping away at a set that Lindsey and I are working on together for next year, and chipping away at the podcast and chipping away at a few other things. One that I'm doing with R.R. Parks cards, and
it all comes together in the end, doesn't it? Like I had a memory pop up on my Facebook. It's been just over a year since I started Krampus. I'm like, wow, really? A year's gone since I started it. Get it finished.
So what's that you started? Because I think I've heard of that set, but I'm not sure. That's as far as it goes from my point of view.
What I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, there's so much stuff out there, and I keep seeing names pop up of different releases like RR Parks, and I see stuff in Non-Sport Update and the occasional promo cards. But there's so much stuff.
I think next for you guys with RR Parks and Long Dog is it's Egypt, isn't it? You guys have got Egypt coming out.
Oops. Sorry, hold on.
You're throwing Egypt around, are you?
I haven't had enough coffee yet. So that's about to be released.
Ancient Egypt trading cards. So is that like a co-promotion between the two of you?
Yeah. It's a trading card, but I'll let Lindsey finish what she was talking about first with Krampus.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh no. Well, I was going to say you've got Egypt coming up, and like it's Richard and Ingrid, that one. RR Parks and Long Dog. But they've let me put one of my characters into it as well. I've got a little cat character called Kitty Eerie, and I just dress him up in different costumes. So he's there with all the Egyptian type outfits on and everything.
Right.
That's cool. It's nice to sort of cross-pollinate.
Yeah. Now, Cats in Egypt is good as well.
Kitty Eerie on the dragon set too.
Yeah. That was just your release, wasn't it? The dragon set, and I did some stuff here. I think for the have you announced? Do you want to announce what we're doing together, or did you want to keep it?
Oh, it's been out there. The
we're doing UFO together. This will be the first one we've done.
That's the promo card on the Kickstarter. You can get one of these, and Lindsey will be doing Kitty Eerie for this too.
Oh,
okay. You are right. And then so on the Kickstarter you get both of these promo cards. So.
Oh, cool. I love it.
It's just for that. It's just to get some interest. You get the two promo cards. The Kickstarter for the set will be next year, and there's going to be a lot more stuff. But
it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I can't wait to see what the artists draw when you give them, like, come up with your own aliens and spaceships and stuff like that. And because there will be a reference image bank for those people who like to do realism, but I want to see what comes out of,
Yeah, there'll be a lot of artists, so there should be a nice variety of different styles and stuff like that. And you're gonna cool. and your flasher card. Which set is that one going into? You have such the awesome flasher card.
It's that is not actually a set card. It's like my personal card that I will send to people. It's you sign it on the front, so it's kind of like an autograph card, but it's going to be lenticular. So you've got the cat with his trench coat like this, and then he opens it, and there's a little sign that says "I appreciate you." And at the top it says "Newsflash." So that's going to be, just if you collect my stuff and you want some, an autograph card from me, that's what that's going to be.
Okay.
I don't have a lenticular here, but I think everybody knows what a lenticular.
Oh yeah. People, trust me, people know what lenticulars
are. It's a 3D thing. So Lindsey will have her cat.
Yeah.
You're going to expect willies and stuff, but no, it's just I appreciate.
Yeah, it was going to be a six frame lenticular, but it just wouldn't looked as good. So I did end up drawing it all out. So you're going to start with that guy.
Yeah.
And then you're going to end on that guy.
Okay. Good. Well, listen, we've made it just over half an hour before someone said the word willies. So I think we're doing all right.
My willies.
Yeah.
Lindsey's going to do a whole set of willies.
Okay. Everyone at home, take a shot.
It's going to be called Wee Willie Winky.
Willie Winky.
Wee Willie Winky, and he's it's a pun set, so you've got like a shuttlecock.
You're kidding me! Please, seriously, right? Get Tony Perner. Get Tony Perner. So Tony Perner sent my former co-host.
You showed us them last time, and I was
yeah. Former co-host and I sent penis cards. And there was a penis Silver Surfer, and there was a penis Black Cat, and it's the weirdest thing. And I tell you about the time he sent he sent Tony and Elaine sent us a Christmas card, which was very
yes. I think you showed the that was pretty funny.
Yeah, when there's these deer in a woodland scene, and it's a printed card. It's not something they've drawn. It's something they've bought in a store. And I had it up in the house and all this sort of stuff, and great. And I think my daughter had opened the envelope when it arrived. Anyway, cut forward to January, and then Tony's messaging me and going, "Oh, did our Christmas card arrive?" And I'm like, yeah, we've packed them all away now. It's like January the 20th. So, oh, okay. Could, could you send me a photo of it? Because I want to make sure I don't send you the same one next year. And I thought, okay, fine. So I still actually had it. I hadn't put them in the recycle yet. And I got it out and I sent him a photo and I looked at it and I was like, motherfucker. And he'd drawn penises on the bottom of all the animals. Like, and we'd had it up in the house with my then 6-year-old daughter panning around looking at it and going, oh, look at the cute animals.
Amazing.
Like, yeah, whenever I get anything like that from Tony Perner, I'm always very, very closely like, okay, what's going on? What's he putting here? You know?
So, yeah. We've got animals of farthing wood.
Oh.
See, I thought it'd be hilarious to do them all on wood. So that's why they're taking me so long. So these are wooden cards.
Oh wow.
Just for a joke. Like, yeah. I'm not as good at painting. It takes me miles longer.
Okay.
But just for the sake of the joke, I've gone for it. So I don't know how long that's going to take before they're ready. But I was thinking about it last night and I was like, you could have just done a wooden card, like an etched one for the joke and just done the artwork the way you usually do it. But here I am now. It's started.
You started, so you'll finish. I mean, you could always have those as a chase set, I guess, and then go off and do something else for the main. Are you doing it? Because I know you've got. So your kind of brand for the cards is Long Dog cards. Is that right, Ingrid?
For me, yeah, because I'm a fan of Dachshunds. Well, we had two when we started actually the podcast, and while we were doing the podcast, I was thinking, okay, if I'm really going to be, and I gotta, shout out to Richard Parks. He's helping so many artists to kind of become a little bit more independent. Mm-hmm. Not all of us want to do massive sets and things like that, but at least to minimally be independent and stuff like that. But you do need a name. So for me, I had to come up with something. I was like, oh, I don't know what. And then we have, we had the two dogs, one who died just after the podcast started, actually. It was like losing a kid. It's terrible. So anyways, I thought, well, yeah, Long Dog, The one we have now is black. The one we had before was red. So it kind of combined the two colors just as an homage to our first dog. And figured, oh, well, okay, it's not perfect as a design, but it'll do. And that's the way it's going to be. And which is a point that it actually brings me to, because my brain tends to go like this.
Yeah.
One thing about being working for other companies and they don't send you extra cards to work on, you learn to be really efficient and you learn to say, okay, better or worse, it's done, it's got to go. Working for yourself, sometimes, most of the time you have more time to put into your work, and that's amazing. But there are times when, again, you have to say, okay, well, can I live with it? Yes, no. And it's just got to be that way. It's like one of the hardest lessons that I personally ever had to learn, I think, was being able to accept stuff that, just to accept all my evils and all my errors and everything I do. You kind of have to.
Yeah. What have you during the time you've been doing the podcast, you've obviously spoken to an awful lot of other artists. How many episodes are you up to, by the way?
Well, if you're kind enough to let us share this one, it will be episode 88.
Episode 88.
We've done 87 episodes so far. We're booked for another 3 or 4, I think. We were doing like one every week in the beginning, and actually at the very beginning we did 2 or 3 a week so that I'd have kind of like a bit of a buffer. But stuff has happened over the past year for both of us, so that just didn't, that buffer came and went, and now we do like usually about every 2 weeks or so. For now. But it's possible that in January we might be doing every week again. I'm not sure, just because it depends also on guest availability, and some of them are really hard to catch because they're very busy.
You find a lot of people are quite shy as well. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, when Ingrid first asked me to do this, I was like, no, 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 no. But she can be very persuasive, can Ingrid? So
you said I was pig-headed. No, that's not what you said. You said I was pushy. That's it.
Oh, dear. But once you get over yourself and you think, well, you know, once you've done one, you don't care anymore. It's fine. Once people have seen you and heard you, and you know, and you're out there, that's, you know, it becomes a lot easier after that. But I think getting over that hurdle for a lot of artists.
There are like a good 4 or 5 artists who I've invited on, and more than once too, and they're just like, no, I'm too shy.
Yeah.
But I gotta say,
I'd love to speak to Andy Fry. I absolutely love Andy Fry.
Oh, yeah, and there's just no way. I think we'd have to hijack him or something. There's no way he's going to come on. There are a lot.
Drive to his house. Well, I was going to ask, you know, who are your wish list guests? I mean, who've you not had that you want to?
Andy
Fry.
Andy Fry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, of course, Andy Fry. But almost every single person we've ever talked to, there's something interesting about them, you know, and you learn something from everyone almost. So it's I don't really have one person. It's just I hope there's always someone new to talk to and learn from. And it would be interesting to talk to more publishers, because like both Lindsey and I come from the working side of things, and I'd like to think that both of us know an awful lot about what it is to be on the working side of the sketch card thing. And now we're both beginning to get a little bit of a peek into what it's like to create sets and come up with ideas and organize artists and other people and, you know, departments who print. So I'd like to think that we're beginning to get a little bit of a feel. I you know, I'm not stupid enough to think that, you know, we're ever going to know everything about it.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit of a peek into some of the different sides of it. So it's really nice to speak to people who are actually touching all of that, and we can learn from it. And also people who come up with amazing ideas, you know. It's fun to speak to people who are, they just don't stop thinking about things. We've had a couple on. I was one British guy. If I don't have their names in front of me, I'm really, really sorry. I forget the name. But we had one British guy who was just like, oh, well, you know, they were always into art, but they had to take a regular job because that's life. And but they went back into art, and they just take what they, you know, whatever life gives them, they just take it. They learn, take something positive from it, keep that, and then move on. It's like, I admire the heck out of that. You know, that can apply to anybody in any line of work, and it's things like that for me anyways, I take that and I try to keep it. And
I'd love to interview people from the production side of things. Like, we were trying to get a dude on who's a bit of an expert on printers. I don't know if we ever heard back from him, but you know, people that helps you set up for yourself. Because people just haven't got a clue what to buy, or, you know, and card sets, it's very specific. You'd need, you know, you can't just do it with a regular printer. You'd need, you know, something that can do thick card and all this business. So
the review you did of your printer that you got, your Epson, I personally was super fascinated with that because I wanted to get a new printer. I haven't got a clue which printer to get. I honestly don't know. There's so many things you want to think about. The different kinds of ink. Is it light fast? Can it handle different kinds of paper and all that? So that was actually just maybe 5 episodes ago or something. I highly recommend people go listen to that. So Lindsey has tried one of them. It gives you a chance to hear that side of it. I think I'd
like to see the industrial process. So, you know, when you send off your cards to be printed from this, that, and the other, and you can get like gold foil and all this different kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I want to see how they're made and, you know, what goes into it. I mean, we did.
I want to know how to set up the files.
We did interview someone from Catprint, didn't we? But we didn't really get to have a look around their workplace, if you like. That, I think that would be dead interesting.
But that would be a good thing to propose to them, though. Now that we've got our foot in the door with them, they know who we are and all that stuff. And for all you Canadian listeners out there, go listen to the episode with Chit Chats, the shipping company, the Canadian shipping company. Now, I realize most of the people who listen to us are Americans, most, I mean, from the US and elsewhere too. But if you're in Canada, Chit Chats you will save a lot of money in shipping. And so far, it's a little bit slower, but you save a lot and you can really watch where your package is going. So far, I have no bad experiences with it at all.
Cool. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So
which is why I'm going to be able to sell the books again because of Chit Chat.
Right. Okay. There we go. So what would you say you're almost 2 years in? What's the biggest things you've learned from both doing the podcast, but also from the people you've had on? Because like I said, you've been talking to people who are in the same space as you. A lot of your kind of peers, I guess, for want of a better word, all different in terms of their styles, their backgrounds, how long they've been doing it for, etc., etc. So all those wonderful stories, which is kind of what this podcast tries to do with all the collectors that we speak to. You've probably got hundreds of them that you don't even realize, but what are your takeaways that you can think of?
It's difficult to think of one, isn't it? Because like you learn all this information from people and it kind of just goes in and I know that now. And then you don't remember where you heard it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that, whenever we see names of people, we just see the names of people when people post their work and all that. All you see is their work and their name. You have no idea who's behind that.
Yeah. So
now we're getting to see the person behind it. And sometimes they are people who don't just do sketch cards. They have a day job, or they do sketch cards, but they also do other things, like the guy we interviewed from Australia. He was also a musician. He was an importer. He was, I don't know, he had like 6 different careers all at the same time. It was like mind-boggling. So you get to see a window into all that you can actually, you don't have to be just a sketch card artist. You can be many things. What about you, Lindsay? Sorry.
Like I said, I can't think of anything specific now. Because everything you learn, it just goes in and stays with you, and you kind of learn from each other along the way, don't you? I think talking to Floydman when he was talking about his packaging processes, and it was so funny when he said, because he did artwork for the band Green Jelly for their album covers.
Oh wow!
And I remember seeing their albums in the 90s. And going, oh, I love this art. This is awesome. And then, you randomly get to meet the guy who actually did it. It was a bit like, yeah.
Floydman's a great guy. He's really, really nice.
Very helpful, yeah. But, I'd love to learn how other people are doing stuff. I mean, I do have a special interest in people producing their own things now, because that's what I've moved on to do. And I want to know how they're doing that. So, yeah.
Have you had Tony and Elaine on? Forgive my ignorance, but
we did have Elaine on. Oh, I love Elaine.
No, Tony was there too. He was just off camera,
Yeah, he was hanging around in the background.
Probably
he would throw in a few words every once in a while, but it was.
He often does that. I remember when we had Tony and Elaine on, when it was a we. Tony would just randomly hold up. We were audio only at that point. He'd randomly hold up little signs and notes with really filthy things on them, and just to throw us. And if you listen back to the audio of that, you'll probably notice a few points where it's just like we're both just a bit like, "What do we do? What do we say?" Nothing you can do.
Once you get to know Tony a bit, you realise his sense of humour. I mean, I think we were emailing back and forth, and I'd sent him my address, and he's like, "Is that your address? That sounds fake." And I was sat there so confused, like, what? I was like, is it what? And then once you get to know him a bit better, you realise he's messing about and joking.
Yeah, that's a very Tony thing. That's a very Tony thing. It's interesting when we whenever I speak to Michael Monshaw, I find it quite fascinating because he, you talk about artists who have, you know them as this one thing. You know them as a sketch card artist, and then you get to know their personality a little bit, and and he's always listened to the podcast when he's working, and then you find out that he works for the Library of Congress.
Oh,
That's his day job, because people have day jobs. A lot of these, a lot of artists, they're not full-time professional artists in that, it's not their main kind of source of income. It's like, I guess the nearest thing I can think of to my experience is actors. Most actors are barmen or waiters or something like that. They very rarely get paid jobs, because there's 200 actors going up for each role. It's so I kind of always equate it a little bit to that, and I know it's different, but it's kind of an interesting parallel. But I'm trying to think who else we've spoken to who's got bonkers ideas. There's one guy, he makes kitchens. That's his job, and then there's the wooden
We
unit.
must get him on. Maybe he can come and redo our
Oh no, he's
kitchen.
been on Joseph Reed. I might be misremembering exactly what his job title is, but he kind of manufactures and installs. He's part of a team and a company that do it. And who else? There's some crazy kind of stories about how people have like juggled, like keeping the roof over their head and paying the bills, and then being up till stupid o'clock in the morning, finishing 50 sketch cards that were on deadline for next week because someone only sent you the cards last week. Which I'm sure you can probably relate to on the commercial side of things. Looking at you on that one, Ingrid, because
which I don't do anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had that happen. Well, now you're probably at the stage in your artistic career where you can be like, 50 cards by when? Don't you know who I am, dear?
No, nobody can do that. But
no, I know. Kidding.
Well, I don't think they well, yeah, I suppose they still do from what I read on Facebook and some of the groups and all. I guess they do, but I don't really work for any of the companies anymore. It's just changed too much for me.
Yeah.
But back in the day, yeah, tops, they'd send you 200 cards and you had 2 weeks to do them in. 400. I mean, the horror stories back in the early 2000s. I would never do that again. Never. Ever.
Yeah.
You start to get worn.
I'm proud of all my stuff, and I learned a lot. It's part of who I am now. But I've been there, done that. Don't need to do it again.
Yeah. And interesting. I think a lot of people do that with sketch cards. I mean, if I think back to a lot of the artists that were on Marvel Masterpieces 2007, 2008. A lot of those sketch cards artists were active for a period, but they've moved on to other mediums, or they're working, doing comic covers, or they're doing, they're teaching, or they've got, it was a step on the path. I don't know of many artists that are still doing it from back in the day.
I mean, some people can make a proper living at them, but what I've found is, once people have enough of your cards, they'll move on to somebody else, someone new. They haven't got any of their work yet, and you kind of don't have a choice but to move on sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there are some people who are solidly there who people will always collect, but and I don't know if it's an effect of lockdown as well, because when lockdown first started, I thought no one's going to be buying art. I'm going to really struggle here. But I was completely wrong. It was exactly the opposite. Yep. Everyone started buying art, and wow, I could not have predicted that. So perhaps it's also because that's over and people are spending the money on going out and doing things again.
Yeah.
And
food is expensive too, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very. I think the trading card industry needs more collectors. In short, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only a finite pool, I think.
Well, it's hard to, even if people do really love art, trying to put this in front of them and say, you don't have to buy art to go on your wall. You can collect a myriad of different artists, and it's not going to cost you a fortune. You're going to end up with a really lovely collection, but getting them to know that they even exist, it's hard.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing.
It has been fun talking to collectors and having them share a little bit different ways that they, keep their collections. Some of them keep them in binders, and others will keep them and put them on the wall. Or there's one Star Wars collector who has created an entire part of his house just for cards, and it's stunning. He's on Instagram. I don't remember his call letter, but I'll try to find it. But it's really interesting to see all the different things you can do with collections, you know.
Yeah.
And like Lindsey was saying, it's small enough, so it gives you more opportunity to play with it, and you can make it interesting.
You can focus just on one character, one franchise, one style.
Yeah.
You can,
who were we talking to?
Whatever you want.
Who was it we were talking to who said that he knew of people who collected the strangest things, and one of the people he had met collected barbed wire, but the parts of the barbed wire that have the little where they connect. Do you remember who that was? And
I do. Hang on. I do remember
each one of those pieces of barbed wire had a story to tell, be it from somebody's farm, prison, what have you. But that was what that particular person collected. I mean,
was it Adrian Cook, the promo collector, Australian?
I think so. Yeah, that's not what he collected, but he knew of someone who did collect that. You're right. It was Adrian. Yeah.
That is bonkers. Yeah. I mean, there's something out there for all sorts of people. I mean, what I've been, people, what I find with collectors is that it's never static. There's always a fluidity to it, and the kind of the collections kind of change, and they'll discard some over here, and then they'll start looking at it in a different way. And at least that's what I've been doing over the past few years. Is I'm focusing on certain things now because it's becoming more of a quality over quantity kind of approach, because there are just so many sets out there, and hats off to the people who go after and collect like all of the sets. Because it's with Marvel now. I mean, this year alone, across printed, across original art, comic art, and movies, stroke TV shows, this year alone, there's well into double figures on the sets, because Upper Deck have caught up. That post-COVID bash, we've literally had one every 2 weeks for the last 4 months.
Your wallet can't do it, can it?
No, and that's the thing, because it's these are odd times for the little people at the moment. And outside of some people who've got the spending muscle, you're having to do that creativity with your collection, because it's like, well, I can't buy everything, so I've just got to be very focused on how I do things.
You got to be careful that people aren't going to give up completely, though. I mean, like I collected Ninja Turtle figures recently. There's so many people with the license for it.
Yeah,
I couldn't keep up, so I've just given up. I can't, there's too many people doing these things.
You can't have too much of a good thing, and that's the challenge at the moment with a lot of people. So character collectors, for example, because I'm a character collector, but also collect certain other things. So I kind of I've got several kind of strings to my bow. With newer sets that Upper Deck are doing, I think there's the new Marvel Beginnings set. I think there are almost 20 different parallels of my character's card.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a red border, there's a black border, there's a blue border, there's a red border, there's a rainbow effect, there's a flipped FX, there's a first appearance, there's a first appearance purple, there's a first appearance gold, there's a white diamond. I mean, literally, these are all real names, by the way. There's an orange bridge, a parallel that's numbered to 60 something.
What do you think of parallels? Do you think they're a waste of time, or?
Well, listen, I think they keep it interesting, but I think I think you can lean into it too much, and I think Upper Deck have done that. And I think it's just getting to the point where it's like, character collectors will be one of two sorts, generally speaking. There'll either be some who if I can get that card from that character, that'd be nice. And there are others who have a spreadsheet checklist of every single card that exists of their character. I'm of that type. So for me to actually make the decision to say, you know what, forget it. I won't bother going after these parallels because, that's but that's the thing. but that's been a deliberate business choice for them, and they've as much as they feel they've gained in doing that in their products for whatever reasons they've done it, they've also lost a section of the I think there's a balance there. But there is so much stuff coming out. I've taken the approach this year with the volume of stuff in the Marvel card space. I've just I've mentioned this before, just finding a moment of joy in the sets that I'm appealing to, and just collecting one small element of it, because it's just too much. And so for the Marvel Disney Plus shows, a lot of them have got metal insert cards, and with Upper Decks quality, they're beautifully printed. They're really vibrant cards. They're not cards; they're metal, but they're lovely. So I've kind of been going after those for a few of the sets, just those, or just one image, and just rainbowing that.
That's actually a really good way of doing it. Just like metal, just collecting all the metal cards.
It's just a little taste.
A really nice set. All different kinds of cards.
And there were some sets where you do want to own the Marvel Masterpieces. It's an original art set, so it's the kind of the crown jewels, if you like, for Marvel original art sets. And so, I will eventually have a copy of each piece of artwork, what color it is or what tier it is, depending on the rarity and all this sort of stuff. I've kind of got that mapped out because it's very similar to the previous sets they've brought out. So, but I'm not in any rush for it. I'll just wait, I'll pick it up. I'm still collecting Dave Palumbo's 2020
set. It's all right to be relaxed. And,
but that's the thing. But a lot of collectors aren't. A lot of collectors are like, I've got to finish this. I've got to finish this. There's a real FOMO about
what do you think of I always ask everybody this. What do you think of sets including everything you could possibly get, like a master set with everything in it, versus having cards that you have to chase? Like, is there any fascination for you when you have to chase down a card? Or would you rather buy everything and have everything there?
Well, I won't. Well, when you say chase, what are you talking about? Are you talking about buying it, or are you talking about just buying multiple boxes of it?
If you have the opportunity to buy the entire set, every single thing that's in that set, and you have the opportunity to buy...
What, to just one and done?
Or do you enjoy looking for those metal cards? Or...
To be honest with you, I think everyone enjoys some aspect of that. I think the people who can... There are a handful of people in the hobby at the moment who have got a ridiculously large spending pot, and so can buy premium product by the case, and very quickly achieve their goals. But they are still going through the process of opening it and sharing that as content with others. So there's still an enjoyment with that. I don't know of many people who just one and done things unless it's been out for a while and people are offloading and downsizing sets. It is done. People. There's a guy at the moment who's gradually seems to be parting with his collection, and he's doing it every few days. He'll list something else. So, for example, you could quite happily go on and buy Marvel Masterpieces 2018 Simone Bianchi tiers 1 to 3 for a really good price, because it's Simone Bianchi's artwork and it's fucking stunning. But other people not keen on that artwork. They'd rather buy autograph cards from a Marvel actor, for example. So that's the thing at the moment, because sketch cards and autograph cards are much tougher to hit now. They're like, in some cases, 2 per case of like between 12 to 16 boxes, So rather than buying loads of product just to rip it on the hunt for this, a lot of people are now eschewing the hashtag buying singles. They're not spending the money on a case. They're just waiting until the cards are out there and then just paying what they would have spent on the case just on buying the card they wanted. So, it's difficult.
If you've got the capital to put in, I would have thought it'd be, like you say, a good idea to buy a case and then find the things you want and sell everything that you don't want and make your money back for the case.
But you don't. That's the thing. There's the whole misconception. There's a lot of people. It's chilled out a bit now, but there was a headspace a few years back when the sets were really they were barely making it out. You had 2 or 3 sets a year, and there was a real thirst in the market for it. There was this mindset that the value of the cards out the box has to be equal to or greater than that you cost for the box, which is unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic, and a lot of people got burnt by that, and so I think people are a lot more selective now when it comes to, I mean, if you've got the money to do that, and you're I've heard the phrase used, ripping responsibly. If you judge the box, why are you buying that box? Are you looking for something, or are you buying because you want just to enjoy ripping open some cards? And there are products that are at a price point where it's you're not spending $300 on the box, you're spending 120.
So in other words,
so it's worth paying for that experience, regardless of what you get out of it.
In other words, you have collectors that are driven by the financial aspect, and then collectors who are driven by the passion of it, and they seem to be rather separate entities.
Oh no, they do cross the streams. They do cross the streams, but I think the once a set, especially with Upper Deck, once a set is released on EPAC, the market gets flooded with all those other cards. So you can't buy a case of physical product and just think, oh, I'll sell everything that I don't want to make up that money, because it's not, unless you do it in a very short window after the first few weeks of release. Once EPAC hits, the market floods, the prices just go, So a lot of people now just wait until the set's been out a few months, until it's on ComSeat, and then they will be able to pick off the cards they want from that set at 50 cents to $1 and make their set that way and spend less than they would have on the actual buying 3 or 4 boxes. So it's very different now, very different.
But these are all really big sets too, right? I mean, they're like sets that include what, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 cards or something in all, or more?
Well, in terms of the base set, you'll be going maybe 90, 100, maybe 200 cards.
That's like very different.
But then you've got parallels of those. So when Upper Deck put out the checklist as an Excel spreadsheet, you will get down to 3,000, 4,000 rows very quickly with all the parallels, because you've got parallels of the chase sets, you've got parallels of this, you've got parallels up the Swahili. It literally is like a multiverse.
I'm not a fan. I think the only kind of parallel I would accept is if it was, say, like a black and white parallel, something where the art looked different.
Yeah,
the original. I mean, it can be the same, but a different style, or a different way of seeing it.
That's what's so good about the last 3 Masterpieces sets. They've done a parallel called Preliminary Art.
Yes.
With Simone Bianchi, his preliminary art is otherworldly, and it's actually in some cases quite different to the final image. Dave Palumbo's set, the Masterpieces 2020, did the same. They've done.
You might as well, because that artist's work for you. They've got that work there. People love to see it. They love to see construction lines and how you've put it together.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I do have to say, guys, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to go because I've got an appointment.
Well, we should probably circle into land anyway. Very quickly, where can people find you? Ingrid, where can people find your podcast? I'll put you on the spot now.
Yeah, I've been just listening and making notes and stuff. Well, the best place to find the podcast or anything that I'm doing, it's my website, www.ingridkvhardy.com, ingridkvhardy.com, and right on the landing page on the right hand side, you're going to see links to everything: my Facebook, our YouTube channel, Instagram, Kickstarter profile with all the Kickstarters that I have done, and the one that's currently going on to get these 2 cards, these promo cards, so that you'll stay in the loop for the upcoming UFO legend and lore set that Lindsey and I are doing together. The podcast, if you go on YouTube and you search I don't know how you say that in English, whatever, PIP Podcast, the PIP Podcast, you'll find us. But again, on my website, links to everything: Facebook, Instagram.
Well, I'll put all the links on the show notes as well. Lindsey, have you got a page anywhere?
You can find me at Leg Day Cards on Facebook at the moment.
Leg Day, brilliant.
Leg Day, because it's my initials LEG.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, leg day's a thing, and I'm obviously going to be doing, a lot of work, putting a lot of work into it. So I'll try. You can find me there, Leg Day Cards on Facebook. Cartoon cosplay is usually my tag on like Instagram and TikTok and whatever. So
Gotcha.
you can find me that way. The website's still under construction.
Yeah, so's this one.
But legdaycards.com will be up eventually.
Good. All right. All right, ladies. Well, listen, thank you for getting up really early. Thank you, Lindsey, for just being awesome. Ingrid, you were about to say something. You were holding something up. What were you about to?
Lindsey also will probably be having a link to her Kickstarter as well, now that she's done 2, I think. So we are findable on Kickstarter as well as websites, and if you sign up for the for $3 you get these 2 cards, free postage for the 2 sets that we're in, and yada yada. And that way, and if you do that for Lindsey too, well, you'll be staying in the loop. It's almost like a mailing list. If we do updates, you get to know what we're doing. And we usually share other people's stuff too, so that if you're interested in other people's work, you can be on board for that. If you want to support the podcast, because podcast, as you know, Ian, takes time, please support us by getting a card and 2 checklists. There'll be a 3rd checklist once we've reached 90 or 100.
I need to talk to you about producing something like this. Definitely.
So this is our podcast card. Lindsey actually put most of this together.
Yeah, I've got one of those. I haven't got the checklist ones yet. I'll have to hunt those down.
Which actually, when I was looking for names, I could have.
You guys like your list, don't you? You guys and your list.
It's color coordinated. They are color coordinated for. Okay.
Brilliant. I love it. Right then, so, let's ladies. Would you very much like to sign us out? I know you've both written this down. Do you want to try and do it together?
Oh, do you know, I've forgotten what it is already. You said people, and I'm thinking I'm not going to forget that. That's fine.
Yeah. We have to say enjoy collecting together.
Oh, it's enjoy, right? Okay.
So all right.
Enjoy collecting.
No,
we didn't do it. We didn't get it. We tried.
We tried.